Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. I am Hamza Idris. On Tidbits tonight, Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State claimed that there are elements within the Aso Rock, Nigeria's presidential villa, working against All Progressive Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu. Speaking on the breakfast program on one of Nigeria's television stations, El-Rufai stated that these individuals whose identities were not revealed were upset that Tinubu defeated their preferred candidate in the APC primaries. The governor believes these elements are hiding behind President Muhammadu Buhari's intentions to do what is right, citing two examples: the costly petroleum subsidy and the currency redesign. El-Rufai's statements come a week after Tinubu himself claimed there were efforts to prevent him from winning the election. And early today, gunmen attacked police station and residential buildings in Nobi, Anambra State, resulting in the death of a 16-year-old boy. The attackers also injured a 15-year-old girl and bombed the INEC office in Ojoto. The murdered boy was a relative of a serving police officer in the station. The attackers used IEDs and other explosives and arrived in 4 different vehicles. In response to the attack, the Anambra Police Command has enforced security and is investigating the incident. The state police spokesperson reported that the attackers came in large numbers and that the command is taking measures to prevent further attacks. The public relations officer of INEC in Anambra State was unavailable for comment. The injured girl was taken to a hospital for treatment. And of recent, there have been several developments in Nigerian politics that have garnered attention and raised concerns among the electorate. Governor El-Rufai's allegations that a section of the villa is working against Tinubu have caused a stir, as the accusations suggest political factions within the ruling party. Buhari's poor outing in recent visit to Katsina and Kano have also raised questions about the popularity and support base of the ruling party in the Northwest. There is also Atiku's claim that he is in talks with Peter Obi of the Labour Party and Rabiu Kwankwaso of New Nigeria People Democratic Party, NNDP, which has added to the speculations about the opposition's plans for the upcoming elections. And additionally, the recent economic difficulties, including the new Naira troubles, have further impacted the Nigerian people and raised concerns about the government's ability to manage the economy. These and many more issues will form the conversation on Daily Politics tonight. And on the program, to share his perspective, we are joined by Baba Yusuf. He's a policy strategist, policy analyst, and the CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company. Welcome to the program, Baba Yusuf.
Thank you for having me, Hamza.
Yes, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away.
documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. We have Baba Yusuf in the studio. I will start with Anambra, the bombing of INEC office. This is barely 3 weeks to election. What is your take on this?
Well, I think some of us will say it is expected. The suspected perpetrators of these ills some of their agents have come out on various media platforms, build up to the campaigns to say they will disrupt the election. I'm talking about IPOB and the ESN.
Yeah.
And variously,
security network,
yes,
which is an arm of IPOB.
Yes, they variously have shared, announcements, including the sit-at-home mandate they gave to people of the Southeast, particularly Anambra, and violations of those sit-at-home by the IPOB and their wings have been met with brutal, reprisals. We keep on seeing on video, apart from the ones on the mass media, this kind of attacks, and this does not speak well of what will happen during the election. If we want to be practical and realistic, even though we are going to talk about the APC issues, I was speaking on another forum, this may also impact on other major players in that region and negatively impact on the frontline presidential candidates of some other platforms as well. Maybe a conversation for another day. But to focus on the attacks is a very sad one for today and for every time, for Nigeria, for the region Southeast. The insecurity is hyping up, and part of the fears or concerns is that this may also lead to voter apathy overall, not just for Southeast, because various forms of insecurity we are seeing. Even yesterday I got information, I think day before yesterday, from Niger State, where some people that I know, a member of the family was kidnapped. So these are things that we expect government to take seriously. We know they do, but more seriously is the fact that these things are escalating day by day.
Yes, because if you look at it, even today, look at what the police spokesperson, that they are on top of the situation. This is the cliche.
The mantra is,
yes, they keep saying, okay, we're on top. And
the playbook is the perpetrators attack, you count bodies, you count losses of resources, and then the security agencies will come with statements of either plan of action, or they will tell you they are on top of the situation. And that gives you clearly the indicators of how things are now. Now, if this is what is happening at this moment, then you can hazard a guess, or you start thinking or contemplating or even supporting the government agencies for all of us to say, what could be the situation when all resources would have been focal, would have been geared towards the election.
Yes.
What happens to other security concerns if at this moment, even as it is, there's a struggle to maintain law and order, yes, peace and security?
People are saying, and the Electoral Act and the Constitution, they are all clear on this, that you have to have this spread for you to produce a president, for instance. Now, the whole of the Southeast is actually a serious spotlight. And what will happen if election is not held? Meaning there will be constitutional crisis. Don't you think so?
Yeah, two possible scenarios. Constitutional crisis, maybe, or maybe the government will look at the situation as it evolves with a view to deciding whether or not elections should hold as at when planned. We've heard some snippets of positions taken even by a key member of INEC at the highest level, that elections may be postponed, and the chairman of INEC coming to counter that to say no, elections will hold. Well, the situation is worrisome, and the truth is we should prepare for all scenarios. This other scenario is elections may hold, but like I said, there may be high level of voter apathy. which will now be very impactful on the overall elections.
And its credibility.
Its credibility as well, yes.
I don't know, people have been asking questions that we have restored democracy in other climes, we have brought down instructions and all that, assisted many countries to get it right. Why is it difficult these days for our security agencies to tame some of these atrocities? Is it they are overwhelmed, or just they are not willing to do that?
I don't think it's unwillingness to do that. I think it's a function of being overwhelmed by multidimensional issues or multiple variables. The preparedness of the armed forces or their readiness in terms of man and material, in terms of cultural orientation, in terms of training, in terms of resourcing, kitting and tooling, and even in terms of remuneration and all that. The numbers as well, boots on the ground. Over time, we have heard and we have seen, whether it is the Nigerian police force or the Nigerian Army, Air Force and Navy, across the value chain, security value chain of in Nigeria, there is a shortage of manpower, as the case may be. And that is why even the politicians this time around are using that as a campaign promise.
Some say they will recruit 1 million
and all that. But I think beyond, it's a critical success factor, but beyond that, you know, things have been allowed to erode over time, and it appears we are being reactive and running after the fact. It's a sad situation that shouldn't have happened, but it is what it is, and we expect that government, the current and the ones coming, will take things more seriously, because the territorial integrity of Nigeria is at a critical point, and we need these actions to be taken as quick as
it's like we are running against time.
Absolutely.
Very sad. Let's move to politics. I will start with, you know, Atiku granted an interview to Hausa Broadcasting Service that he's in talks with Konkoso and Peter Obi. Did this come to you as a surprise, or you anticipated something like this, even though the two parties, you know, they dismiss the claim by Atiku?
To be honest, I shared a podcast in October, and I think most of us know that build up to elections as such, a vibrant polity like Nigeria, you know, politics, the biggest African nation with the most populous black nation in the world, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. We are at a crossroad. It's a very important election. So this, is something I expected will happen. Permutations will continue to happen till the election, and we reckon, some of us reckon, that this election, there's possibility of runoff elections, there's possibility of alignments and realignments. So continuous engagement, constructive engagements within the parties, across the parties, will continue for the discerning minds, for the forward-thinking frontline politicians. The professional ones will continue to reach out. That's how you stay on top of the game. That's how you win.
Why do you think he said they were in talks? Because is it that he's actually scared, or? No,
I think it's a function of both. I mean, two factors that are part of politicking, that are part of campaigning. Rhetoricing, to sound out, to demonstrate wide reach out and capacity to engage and negotiate. And the truth is, these politicians are not kids, they are not children, they are professionals, they are mature, they have evolved. So I would also believe that they are not operating in a no talking terms situation, especially at that level. It is at the lower level, at least the lowest level, you see fisticuffs, you see people not talking to each other. These people will continue to engage. I believe they are engaging because the focus is to win elections, and the way you win is by consolidating, by reaching out, and by increasing your scope and your reach.
At a time, all of them were beating their chest that they have the widest spread you can think of to make it to the villa individually without this alliance or merger or whatever. Now that they have started singing this song of coming together, even though they are at the same time denying it, do you think that without this kind of alliance, any of these candidates will be able to sell through the difficult terrain to get to the villa?
The frontline candidates are saying this, and they are doing it. And their spokesperson in some cases are also talking about it because it is real. This election, 2020 election, is going to be a bit different because it's going to be tight. The political consciousness of Nigerians is so high. The dynamics are wider than before. We have new variables within the dynamics that could upset the apple cart, if you will, of the traditional, politicking, where maybe a ruling party or a major party will just coast home with the numbers. We have what I call the new variables that ab initio were considered, not important. What now could actually be the critical success factors, because if you look at the major contenders, they have strongholds in the critical locations or within the critical strongholds. So we are seeing this reaching out and this game of alliances and possible coalition, because they know for a fact that it is going to be very difficult for one party to coast home easily like that. It may happen, but it's going to be tough. So the alliances,
just like what
will be what will happen.
New PDP, the
Yes, G5.
Yes.
Yeah.
They met in 2014, right?
Oh yes. Okay. Yes. The emergence of APC.
Yes.
Although the dynamics are different now, because if you look at how APC emerged, the preparation was earlier. We could see that coming. Okay. The strategy was formulated earlier on, with the likes of Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the likes of Rotimi Amici, His Excellency, and the likes of Engineer Rabi Musa Konkoso,
even
and a host of others, the likes of Wazir and Adama Atiku, seen clearly from the beginning. And of course, General Muhammad Buhari himself, seeing the need to do that, to win, to offset an incumbent government. It's a different dynamic now. The variables are different. The situation in the country, what people are going through, and the parties themselves, what they are going through, are going to be key determinants of this so-called alliance that is going to play out differently. Maybe you may not see that coalition merger, but you may see alliances, people coming together to say, we have agreed to work together, something similar to what happened in 1999, although a bit later, where Alliance for Democracy had an alliance with the All People's Party. Now all the flag bearers are out, so what you may see is horse trading that will lead to support of an established frontliner.
Yeah, it was really tough. We led the Daily Trust today with the story of the G5. Because, Governor Wike of Rivers promised that before the end of January, they will choose their preferred candidate.
Yes.
Most likely against Atiku, where today is 1st February. They couldn't do it. Have they lost their worth?
I call it the mechanics and dynamics of the politics in Nigeria today. What has happened is reality hits G5. They smell the coffee and they are very much awake. The tendencies and the positioning 7 months, 6 months ago are changing and very fast. And therefore, the high ground they had, they are living in a scenario of the global warming, where you thought is high ground is now a flood area. It is crazy. The dynamics are changing. And therefore, I am very sure in their private moment, especially their team leader, Governor Wike, is thinking, cracking his head. The APC, we see the situation is going to be a subject matter of discussion today. What about the PDP that we don't want to work with? Are we going to align with Labour Party that has become a movement that is becoming entrenched in terms of followership? And they can say, do we really need you guys? Because they have been able to establish presence in the state where this G5 are governors. So I don't see them coming to demonstrate value with due respect, even with the power of incumbency. Peter Obi has been able to marshal and gets followership in Rivers, in Abia, in Benue, with or without them.
Yes.
they will succeed. So that has been a kind of scratch on the back of G5. And I think they are cracking their heads very well not to lose political relevance or to go
Which
into
is likely
political
now.
oblivion, because, like I told someone that is arguing that they are sitting governors and they have power of incumbency, and I tell people that say that they are also lame duck governors because they are leaving.
Yes, they are leaving.
Right? And also because of that, they have to think about their next political moves.
Yeah. The politics is actually
very interesting, but for people like us, we like it. We are just praying that Almighty God will guide us so that we can have the right leader this time around. Out of this very tight contest, we pray that the leaders that we need will emerge.
Another fearful scenario is the, resort to courts by almost all contenders. It is the court that is actually deciding for everything. Look at what happened in Taraba today.
Yes.
The APC gubernatorial candidate, has been sacked.
Yes.
By the Supreme Court.
Absolutely.
Does this really portend something good for the political parties? We are approaching election, but because of the sins in court they committed during their primaries and all that, they are now having serious problems. Few days ago, it was Oshun. The governor was removed from office. Don't you think this is actually encouraging both apathy among Nigerians, that even if they go out to cast their vote, at the end of the day, it is the judges in their wisdom that will say, okay, Mr. A is the right candidate, or Mr. B is the right governor, or whatever?
I think the political evolution of Nigeria is happening. It's not really the courts that are determining, it is the parties that are determining. When they decide that internal democracy will not thrive, will not hold water, the courts will decide for them. You see the internal wranglings that is leading to litigation.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you see parties that may end up, going to election without candidates on the ballot.
Wow.
Because of self-inflicted injury.
Like what happened in Zamfara.
Absolutely. So these are the issues. A learning point for the political players, for the political parties. I don't think this has anything to do with the voters. At the end of the day, the voters will come out and vote whoever emerges. Most likely, we're even going to see people voting candidates rather than political parties anyway. That being said, the Ocean scenario is a bit different.
Are you saying maybe voters will now go for individuals instead of political parties?
Most likely this time around, the election will be
outside the Shinkafa Dawaki.
Absolutely. We expect what we are calling Shinkafa Dawaki, meaning rice and beans. We will most likely see a scenario where you have what is not new. I remember back in the days in Kano State, where during the elections, when General Muhammad Buhari came out, into the political terrain and started asserting himself politically, what we used to call the party, one party, the gubernatorial will win a party, and then the presidential will be maybe a PDP, for example. That is the rice and beans we are talking about. Why? Because people this time around will most likely look at the candidates. And to be fair to people, why not? The frontline contenders, the four frontline contenders, with due respect to the other parties.
18
contenders, I'm just using this for a scenario.
Every other person is doing.
Yes, 4 years ago, almost all of them were in the same political party. Dr. Rabiu Musa Konkoso, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Peter Obi, and currently
Tinubu. Even though Tinubu,
2015 you had Kwankwaso, Tinubu and Atiku in the same party with Buhari. In 2019 you had Peter Obi with Atiku and Kwankwaso on one hand, and you had the other.
So they just move for convenience.
So now, because there's no politics of ideology really, but like I said, most parties in fora, I say parties are now mostly SPVs, special purpose vehicles for winning elections. So people will most likely look at what the candidates have, or who are their champions or their leaders, or the people that will most likely deliver for them over and above the parties. After all, 1 month after winning elections, you can see people packing their bags in droves to move to maybe a party that won anyway. So most likely we'll see people voting personalities.
But it is not actually part of the existential problem we are facing in the country, because you know, you are a policy analyst also, and it is believed that it's better to build institutions than to build individuals, so that you can dispense any other person and the system will continue to grow. Now, taking our thinking and decision around individual, is it not antithetical to you know, democracy, so that enduring democracy, for instance?
Well, that is the quagmire or paradox of a situation we found ourselves in this country. What I will say is most likely as time goes on, water will find its way.
Yeah.
Because if we are able to vote, much as we are voting personalities, and rightly so, because all the political parties, to my mind, are just same wine, different bottles. So most likely, if we are able to make the right choice, and God help us, we get the right leader or leaders this time around, 4 years on or 8 years on, the shape, the political landscape shape will change such that those leaders that will emerge will start institutionalizing rather than personalizing, moving forward. And those are the kind of leaders we urge people to look out for and vote for, so that we can have what you are talking about, institutions, institutionalization.
And service delivery. Because you will not even have service delivery when you put your hope around an individual instead of around a system. Thank you very much for your take. We will go on a break.
Thank you.
Viewers, don't go away. We will come back after a short break.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England's squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Haruna, Bisi, Akman, Unduka, how will I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom I go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC, the party where show broom. Not forget oh, now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I go put my hand for Tinubu.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV, and you can follow the conversation across our various platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and follow us live on YouTube. We still have Baba Yusuf, policy analyst and strategist, the CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company, in the studio. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, now to our biggest story of the day. The allegation by Governor Nasir El-Rufai that a section of the villa is actually working against the emergence of Tinubu under the APC. Do you agree with what he's saying?
Well, I'm forced to agree with what he's saying to a certain extent, because this is none other than Malam Nasir El-Rufai, a sitting governor of Kaduna State, a frontline governor of the APC, a man that has pedigree and antecedents, so of fearlessness and saying things as they are. So if he comes with such a statement, it is bound to attract attention and to say, we need to listen to this, we need to look at it. There must be some element of truth in it.
Wow. Now, who are these people in the villa, in your estimation, for instance?
Well, I'm not there. He has not been able to tell us.
Yes.
But some of us have said before now that the strength of the APC may likely be its weakness. A student of strategy, watching the unfolding events, right from the build-up to the primary elections, the protracted quarrel with the emergence of the party national chairman itself, you know, for the discerning man will tell you how things may be shape up, especially in the absence of very strong reach out and peacemaking and bridging efforts.
Yes.
This is the ruling party, and rightly so. There's nothing terrible about it, because it is the ruling party, so the stakes are very high, and to that extent, managing that success is an issue. And this is what is playing out at the moment.
For 8 years, no matter what, isn't it enough for them to actually say, okay, let's consolidate and see, even if we will not add more years, let's repeat what the PDP did, you know, in power 16 years old.
I'm happy you are mentioning PDP as a comparison, because yes, that is the fact. When PDP came in from 1999 to 2015, they were consolidating, they were building up. Now, this infighting of the APC is going to negate all the efforts from 2013, 2014, building up to the emergence of APC itself and the 8 years they have been in government. How they are able to manage it will determine in the next couple of weeks how things will play out in the national elections, especially the presidential elections. We hope that they will not do what is called fall on their swords.
Wife of the president, Aisha, she reshared the interview El-Rufai granted. She's the wife of the president. She reshared it, meaning she concur, right?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it is not new that Her Excellency the First Lady has been talking about issues of what we were calling the cabal, if you remember.
Yes.
Voicing out her concerns about what was going on in the villa over the years, right? Now you can connect the dots and say, okay, things are playing out. And because of the alignments and realignments that are happening, it is safe to say that, yes, this is real. And to buttress that, the presidential candidate of the All People's Party, by his narratives and rhetoric in the past couple of days, has actually confirmed that there are issues. Of course, we have denials and counter-denials by the establishment, and that is the presidency, to say there is none. One expects that. They have to put that front of, we are one, we are together. But we will not look at the lips of the spokespeople of the party. We'll look at the actions of the critical players, especially the frontliners. The presidential, none other than the presidential candidate himself. And now we are seeing other key critical stakeholders like Malam Nasir El-Rufai taking the bold step to say, yes, we have a problem. Whether that is a strategic move that will add value to the movement of APC to win election or not remains to be seen. But the reality is, this is what it is. It is what it is.
A serious problem. The federal government, let me put it this way, reacted to what El-Rufai said. Let's take a look.
The most important person to me is Mr. President. And I think he has shown by words and by deed that is committed to a free, fair and credible election. And fair, free and credible election actually means not favoring anybody or disadvantaging anybody. Now, and everywhere he goes, he makes that very clear. Even as recently as Friday, when he was in Daura, he said the same thing. So if there's anybody who's working against any candidate, we don't know officially.
That was Lai Mohammed, but I am appalled personally. I don't know whether you are. He was saying the president is committed to free and fair election. This was not the voice we had when Obasanjo was campaigning for Yar'Adua. He was saying, vote for my candidate, vote for my candidate. Why are we not hearing this? You know, just, okay, Nigerians should just vote for whoever they like. Is the president really committed to the emergence of Tinubu as president?
To be honest, in my opinion, APC is suffering a late-hour malady, and if not cured, will lead to its failure. Like you rightly said, not just President Olusegun Obasanjo, any incumbent president that is handing over, not just talks about vote for my candidate, 3 keywords: with commitment, with assertiveness, and with all resources available to marshal support, okay, for the frontline candidate of the ruling party in any country.
Yeah.
Even in the United States of America, the United Kingdom, everywhere. Now, this is a little bit different. Okay, fine. The statement says the president is committed to free, fair, and credible elections.
Yes.
We'll hold APC to that.
Yes.
We hope that plays out. But, you know, if we go back a little bit, some couple of months ago, from the, like I said, the infighting that led to the emergence of the chairman of the party, we had speculations that it is not the chairman that emerged was not the chairman that
the larger family
wanted and all that. And then on to the setup of the Presidential Campaign Council. Recall that the Director General of the Tinubu Shetima Campaign Organization, Bola Tinubu had to delay, or rather recall, the list of that committee.
To accommodate
certain what they call larger stakeholders, something like that.
So is this infighting still, you know, haunting them? Because what El Rufai said, Tinubu isn't actually the candidate that cabal.
Well, it is not actually the infighting had been there. It is now the infighting that is blowing out, that I said that requires all and sundry that has the interest of APC at heart to sit down and smell the coffee and agree their issues and deal with them.
Do you think they will do this? Because you can see they are just firing salvo left,
it's
right,
going to be a very difficult thing.
Yesterday in Calabar, you know, he actually fired another salvo.
Absolutely.
Saying that in 2015, dollar was 225,000 naira,
which is also
now
something.
It is 700. It is not even there for people.
Which is something different from what
even though
you see.
the campaign organization this evening said the statement by Tinubu was twisted by PDP. I think he has reached a stage where he is just voicing out his anger.
You know, Hamza, when no matter how strong and big a superstructure is, if the foundation is attacked consistently, there will be fault lines and it will consequently collapse.
Yeah.
That is what is seemingly happening to APC. How they are able
is it a cannibalistic campaign now?
Now, because you see, sadly now, within the same party, you hear, you know, salvos, and you hear, you know, arguments and statements that sound as if APC is 2 different parties. As it were.
So is it now campaigning against itself of sorts?
Well, I think, like I said earlier, if APC does not realign and refresh, there is room to refresh this, to understand that
in the next 20 days?
Yes,
because we have
24 hours is a long time in politics.
Okay.
All right, for people that want to be practical and pragmatic, for people that want to be realistic at a critical moment in history of Nigeria. Nobody will wait for APC.
But do they have the time to now convince Nigerians? Today, the Transparency International, you know, released its yearly report, which actually is not really good for the ruling party, and it's not good for Nigeria. And within the country, you can see, do you have some Naira with you now in your pocket?
I'm still struggling with some old Naira note and 2 new notes.
So, but how many people have that? You are a privileged Nigerian.
I have 2. The rest are the old notes.
So do they have time to now, number one, reconcile themselves and then reconcile with Nigerians? Because it's like there is this general disenchantment in Nigeria against the APC government.
First of all, before the general disenchantment against the APC, my concern for APC is there's also a general disenchantment by the members of the APC against the APC, arguably the biggest political party in Africa with over 41 million registered members, as mentioned by the former chairman of the party, Governor Maimala Buni, in last year. And within the party, if at the top you have these cracks, right? You can imagine what is happening down the radar within the political party. And separating that means you will have members of the party that are already not happy with the situation of things. You see what happened in Katsina, you see what happened in Kano.
Yeah, we are going to that.
Spreading
I wanted us to actually listen to the response, reaction to what Transparency International said. Yes, by Lai Mohammed.
I can assure you that we do not, as a government, know what template TI is using. But whatever template they are using is clearly oblivious of what this administration is doing to fight corruption. Corruption fighting is not just by how many people have you arrested, how many people have you tried, how many people have you convicted. Of course, that even in that respect, we have a very impressive record. Is it EFCC? Is it ICPC? But you see, you should look at what we are doing even to make corrupt practices almost impossible or difficult. I'll just give you 2 examples.
Have you noticed that he is struggling to actually discredit the report?
Absolutely.
Why?
And it is an irony, because many years ago, principal actors in this government will be brandishing TI report to discredit the other political party that was in power.
But now they want to discredit the report.
Absolutely. But bottom line, away from that, what is critical is the 92 million possible voters.
Even though it says we come up.
What are they thinking? What are they feeling? Whether APC members or not. That is the reality APC is going to contend with. The hunger, the diseases, and all this also what I call the manufactured issues, the issues that shouldn't even be here.
They ought to have resolved them or not to allow them to even happen.
I don't know what is happening to the ruling party that build up the election. I was discussing with someone day before, I said, I've never seen a party that takes such a risk. Build up to election. You decide rather than to comfort the electorate.
Yes.
To reassure them that yet again they should give you the opportunity. You go with a sense of entitlement that no matter what happens,
to dare them,
you are going to vote for you. That is for the electorate. And as we can see, it is the same mentality that is going on within the superstructure of the party itself.
Including the leader.
That is looking like the party is going to implode on itself and make it easy for other political party to actually win the election without having to struggle, that they have a cohesive, strong, and forward-thinking incumbent.
What is your takeaway with Buhari's visit to... Anyway, the transparency actually is a global thing.
Absolutely.
Now, Buhari was in Katsina. It wasn't really rousy, and he was in Kano. It was managed and all that. Those his 12 million votes, are they still there for the APC to latch on?
Not just the 12 million votes. Like I said earlier, with due respect to the corruption index, I mentioned that what are the people thinking and seeing and feeling? That's what I meant. If you look at the KKK states in the north,
yes,
Kano, Katsina, Kaduna, for example,
yes,
he has been to Katsina, we've seen the feedback. He has been to Kano, we've seen it. Now these people are speaking to the president and by extension to the ruling party. this is what they are feeling. And to any discerning man, if I am in the strategy team of APC, I will say, gentlemen, ladies, let's look at the reality and change the narrative and change our approach, because people at this point in time, weeks to election, are taking such hardline position. Of course, because of the hardline position taken by government as well. It portends danger for the party, except if they want to continue living what I call virtual reality. You know,
Which will not take you anywhere.
Yeah, for me, I'm not the one that is easily swayed by political rallies. Now, the actual assessment and the evaluation and the appraisal of the people have started happening with the likes of the turnout in Katsina, with the likes of the turnout in Kano. What more do you want closer to election? Rather than to see people gravitating towards the incumbent, you see the kind of thing that I personally was cringing in my seat to see for an incumbent that is not just an ordinary incumbent. General Muhammadu Buhari, if you go back from 2003 to 2015, the kind of followership, the kind of people that he marshaled, that were going out to vote for him, that had that strong support base, that is for Buhari. And then you have on the other block the massive support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all the critical players within the All People's Party. But if you look at the permutations already, there is a referendum, kind of mock referendum on the party in Katsina, in Kano. And we've seen some quasi-referendum in some elections here and there. Even the Osun election, even though we know the Bibles has been able to weed out the overcounting, but it presupposes that it is also a referendum, because ordinarily it shouldn't have gone to the court. It should have been a walkover for APC as an incumbent in Osun State to give this landslide gap between it and any other party. So it's signs of days to come. However, there are still opportunities for them. That is the
in
All
20
People's
days,
Party.
I keep asking this.
You
Some
see, like
people
I
are
said,
saying Tinubu is already feeling betrayed.
To be honest, he's feeling betrayed, but my worry is not Bola Ahmed Tinubu. My worry is his handlers and his strategic team.
What will they do if they don't have the buy-in of critical stakeholders?
You see, they are the ones that will sit and think, or they should have sat and thought from the beginning, that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as an individual, as a colossus that he is, cannot swing this without other political groups and interests. This is Nigeria, as diverse and as structural as it is. So we would have expected a different strategy to hold the house together, if you like. Because there is so much disenchantment, as we can see. And the political dexterity of the critical players will play out at this kind of critical moment, which is not happening. So the handlers are also not helping matters, because at this point in time, they are the ones that will help steer affairs, not for General Muhammadu Buhari. He has done his tenure, he's leaving. But for the candidate of APC, under no circumstance can you demarcate the party on which platform you are going to intend to win election. No matter how much support base you have. Already, we know that no man is an island has played out with the APC, how we see the KKK states because of Buhari playing out. Now, how the Muslim ticket versus the Muslim Christian tickets of other parties is playing out. And because Buhari is leaving, how Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team need to hold on to those chunk of votes from those states, which obviously are, waning, is an issue that I thought the strategists we should have foreseen, should have prepared for, and should have worked for. And even 20 days to election should say, what can we do about that? Otherwise, things will continue to fall apart like Chino.
We've been trying to bring some of the people concerned to this chair to talk, but they are actually resisting. We don't really know why, but I want to hear this from you. It's like the APC, finally, because we have run out of time, is on the defensive. Look at a day or two, PDP now, sympathizing with the president.
Yes.
Now, what do you think they should do to actually recover from this slumber?
To be honest, I don't know, because in terms of performance, You have issues. The rhetorics are almost running out. The only thing remaining is the sense of entitlement that no matter what happens, people are going to vote for some people. So it's going to be tough.
Which is a misnomer, maybe.
Absolutely, it's going to be tough. That's why I say people are living the life of virtual reality. Because if only people are seeing and feeling what they should in terms of good governance, in terms of dividends of democracy, over above narratives and some numbers on the dashboard, maybe, only maybe, then we can say that's what. Then these issues that were created, this issue of the cashless economy, these issues of the fuel scarcity, and all those issues that now are the issues Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team are saying
they are being used,
but they
to demarcate them.
They have been thrown off by the ruling party. They are approved by the sitting president of the incumbent. The ruling party needs to deal with this if they really want to be taken seriously.
Thank you very much, Baba Yusuf, strategist and policy analyst, CEO, Global Investment and Trading Company. Thank you very much for coming to the program, and we hope to have you again.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's program. Viewers, do well to collect your permanent voter's card and make a commitment to vote in the forthcoming election to guarantee a better future for all of us. Thanks for watching, and do join us again. I'm Hamza Idris.